The college basketball experience, Missouri Valley 25-26 conference preview edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code TCESGPN. Welcome, everybody, into the college basketball experience. Oh, man, I know. Hey, I've been getting a lot of DMs on this exact league. This is a basketball
Dude, me
league.
too.
The Missouri Valley. We saved one of the best leagues for last. YouTube.com/the college experience. Can't wait to talk about the Valley, man. This is a basketball league through and through. Me personally, when people ask, what's your favorite mid-major league? This is always my first answer, just because of the rich history, the coaches, the fan bases. Can't wait to talk about it. But first, I am Moneyline Mac, the former staffer member at Austin Peay with the Governors, South Carolina with the Gamecocks, and West by God, Virginia with the Mountaineers, a.k.a. Now known as Mac Tonight over here at the College Experience. And joining me to talk Valley Hoops, this guy loves the Valley himself. He is a LeBaron driving, cocktail napkin having. He is Noah Bienick, a.k.a. Noah B77. What is up, man?
Yeah, the Valley is always going to have a special place in my heart now. As my first trip to Omaha for the College World Series, there was a Missouri Valley team in it. So shout out to the Valley. They're a basketball first league, but yeah, Murray State, hell of a baseball run last year. We'll see about the basketball team. I think there's a little bit of excitement around the Racers on the floor this year, the hardwood.
Could be. They are one of 11 in this league. You got to leave it to the Valley to have a random odd number here. And this guy right here is also pumped to talk Valley Hoops because we do an open draft behind the scenes, and between Huff, Cap, and Troy, they all pick which leagues they want to hop on with Noah and I. And I think Huff's first request like a month ago was, I want the Valley. So up for he's from the Hoosier State. Indiana State fans are like, all right, I don't like this guy anymore. But anyway, he's the co-host of the Pump Fake Pod. I almost said Lock and Dog Pod because I had Cap wrong. But the Pump Fake Pod, they already
on that too.
Yes, going right off the dome here, baby. He is Michael Huffer, a.k.a. Huff Puff. Let's go. What's up, man?
What's up? Hey, thanks for having me again. Yeah, I wanted the Valley early. I love this conference. Are you kidding me? It's like one of my favorite conferences in college basketball. They have a great conference tournament. They got good different styles of plays that are unique. You got teams that run up tempo, teams that slow you down. I like those deferring styles, and I feel like it's always, you got your teams as of late that are at the top of the conference, but you never know. You get your surprise team every other year, and a lot of players actually stay at these teams as well too in this transfer portal era. So they enjoy the Valley. I'm excited to talk the Valley and just watch these teams here in the upcoming season yet again. And yeah, weird number. Shout out Missouri State and their football program leaving. So yeah,
I was going to say Missouri Valley, and there's no longer any teams from the state of Missouri in the conference.
Why are you surprised? This is conference realignment. Go check out our Big Ten preview where we shit on expansion for 3 straight hours. So, Bienick, this is the Missouri Valley. Arch Madness. I see Can-Am, 1975. Nice name in the chat. Talking about.
I think that's Can-Am for Canadian American.
All right. Well, fuck. I'm off to a good start here. But he's right. Arch Madness, one of the Sunday before Selection Sunday. That is one of the many reasons this is a great league. Standalone championship game Sunday afternoon, 2:30 Eastern, whenever they tip it off. So people get eyeballs on this product. Bienick, how'd we do last year?
We did okay. I don't think we did amazing because Drake swept the league, and they were a little bit of an enigma. Shout out to Pupper Huffer over there that jumped on screen. Yeah, Drake was a little bit of an enigma. I was all over it though. Like I was all the way bought in on the Northwest Missouri State translation into Drake last year with Ben McCollum and Bennett Sturts in the bunch, but I picked them second, and I didn't take either them to win either title. I had Bradley sweeping. Mac, you had Murray State winning the regular season and Northern Iowa winning the tournament. But yeah, the Bulldogs were able to finish the job in both aspects, regular season and conference tournament. You picked Southern Illinois as your sleeper last year, and I would say that was a little bit of a disappointment season for Nagy at Southern Illinois, or Scott Nagy, sorry. And then myself, I had Drake as my sleeper. We were able to hit that. I picked them second. They were fifth in the media poll in the preseason last year. And then the sleepers, we both drilled the sleepers. You had Missouri State finishing last. They were picked 10th. They finished last, just 2-18 in the league. And then I had Evansville picked last. They finished 10th. I had them, or the media had them 8th. So, both of us, mine was a little bit of a fringy, correct disappointment bust team, but you definitely drilled the Bears with their first, what was it, the first year back with Kwanzaa. So, yeah, that was quite the disappointment. So I would say it was lesser than our standards that we've set for ourselves, pretty high throughout a lot of these conference previews, but overall, not too shabby. New faces in the league. Of course, we talked about Drake sweeping it, and then McCollum's off to Drake. Eric Henderson comes in from South Dakota State. And then we have Ryan Miller to Murray State. And, I mean, Huffer, what do you make of the new faces in the league?
Yeah, I mean, you bring in a couple new faces, a couple second years as well too. I think they're good hires, and gonna be not only good for this season, but long term, they're good hires. And I think this can be viewed as like a stepping stone conference, but I don't view it that way. You got a couple coaches that have been there for quite some time and at least stay for at least 5 years minimum. So yeah, they're great hires. Tough to see some departures, but especially like really good coaches. One being Ben McCollum with Drake, as you mentioned, and but I'm excited for the Missouri Valley, and I think it's going to be really competitive and a huge wild card actually. I think 8 teams could compete for this conference this year.
It is a little bit wide open. I agree with you on that aspect.
And to piggyback off what you guys said with some of the turnover, 6 out of the 11 coaches are in their third year, second year, or now in their first year. So over half the league, the guys that have kind of been around are you got Wardle over at Bradley. He's the longest tenured. Oh, well, actually Jacobson in Northern Iowa. Yeah. He's in there 2 decades.
Since 2001, when I was born.
Yeah. Those are kind of the dons of the league, Wardle and Jacobson. And then now you could kind of throw Casey Alexander, who's been at Belmont for a minute. So yeah, dude, these are good programs. And one thing's for sure, when you win in the Valley, you usually translate well at the high major level too. So
the Valley is a Midwest conference, I would say that. And in the Midwest, off the highways, you get a lot of rest areas or pit stops or gas stations that you can stop and sleep at. And it's just a short transition period to maybe where you're going to be. And Huffer was talking about stepping stone conference, and you see it with the players too. It's not one of your older mid majors because they're taking chances on some young talented players, or they're buying low on some young guys transferring down. So it's either an up transfer or a down transfer approach in the Valley. And it's really interesting to see the multiple ways of approaching the roster building in the Valley.
I completely agree. So reminder, triple header tonight. Only 3 left. The Valley tonight. After is Conference USA. The Ivy will be tomorrow. The college football show will be at 9:00. So we got you covered all the way up. It'll be another.
The best for last, right? The Ivy League, yes.
But yeah,
it was also the easiest one to pair up with our season futures episode. Yeah. So.
Right, because it's 8 teams. Yep.
Yeah. So for a third straight night, you got me on the mic on air for 7 straight hours. So yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
There we go. The Mac Marathon.
Many Mac marathons. But before we talk about this Conference USA, We got to shout out ourselves, baby. NFL, MLB, NBA, college football, college hoops, and much more, all live. And get your podcast, giving out free picks, everything. Subscribe to the SGPN feed to catch every episode wherever you get your podcast today. Oh, first up, this damn program. They were pain in my ass when I was in the OVs, the other valley, the OVC.
The other valley.
Yeah. We went against Rick Byrd when I was there, but Casey Alexander, former assistant to Rick Byrd, was awesome at Lipscomb for 6 years, got to a tournament. Now he's already in year 7 at Belmont, and this is a model of consistency program. They have not been the dominant force that they were in the OVC. They were always first or second in the OVC, but in the Missouri Valley, they've been third or fourth every single year. 14-6, 12-8, 13-7. Those have been their 3 records. Overall, you see it 21, 20, 22. They have an identity. They know what they want. They do a good job of maintaining their roster. Culture means something there. They'll be good again because Casey Alexander's there, and that's what Belmont does, Noah.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that this is the semi-most continuity that he's had on his roster since joining the Valley. He brings back 3 guys that played 20 minutes a game last year. This roster's just got a boatload of shooting, and that's where Casey Alexander really shines, is being able to create these dynamic offenses where in 5 of his 6 years at Belmont, he's had a top 100 offense nationally. So, you like to see that continuity in the system. And with that, I think you're going to have better than a slightly 3rd or 4th place finish. They might be competing for a Missouri Valley Conference title this year. Returning Tyler Lundblade, who took 6.5 threes a game last year at a 48% clip. He's back on the wing. He's a 6'5" senior guard for the upcoming season. You have Aiden Noyes, who shot 38.5% from 3 on 2 attempts a game. He only played 15.5 minutes, but he's back as a redshirt senior 6'7" wing. And then Sam Orme took 3.5 threes a game as a stretch 4 last season as a freshman. Drilled him at a 37.5% clip, was 50.5% from the floor, averaged 9.5 and 4.5. With just under a steal, just under a block per game, and just over an assist per game in his first year of college basketball. He was a hell of a player last season. And then Brigham Rogers also played 21 minutes a game last season for the Bruins, a 6'9" junior big man who averaged just under a block per game, a steal per game. Really solidifies that defense in the front court. And there's some depth too with Drew Shanowski, who's a 6'9" redshirt sophomore, who played 12.5 minutes a game last year as well. They've got a few guys that have redshirted in this program that are also going to know the system and provides a little bit of depth. But the 2 guys from the portal that are going to play significant minutes in the backcourt are Nick McLean, a transfer from Eastern Washington, and he's going to be your projected point guard. He averaged 4 assists for the Eagles last year, 2 steals a game, played 28 minutes for EWU, and 10.5 points, 3.5 boards, shot 33% from 3. And then Isaiah West from Sanford is going to compete with that for that job as well. He's a 6'2" junior guard who only played 12 minutes a game last year for the Bulldogs. Belmont's going to be really good in my opinion. I think it's a super high floor for Casey Alexander in 2025-26. Huffer, what do you think?
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I'm excited about Belmont. How can you not be? Like, historically, they're going to be a 20-win program, regardless if they get it in the postseason or not. They've always been competitive, and Mac makes a good point. They haven't gotten over quite the hump in this valley or gotten out of the valley, but they've been close, getting in the 3rd or 4th, and in the top 5 at least. So it's been an interesting transition. I feel like physically they were weak last year. They kind of always have been. They focus on guard play, kind of spreading the floor, running and gunning. Not worried about kind of grinding you out as much as some of these other teams. But it works for them. And that's a system that Belmont has, and they're going to focus on guard play more so than in the front court. And I think that translates well. And it's not volatility. They're good home court. They got a good home court advantage as well. I like their home court. And you bring up some great players. Tyler Lundblade being one of them, and Sam Orme as well. So a good in and out style there. And I'll just shout that Nick McLean actually comes in brothers of Belmont standout guard Kevin McLean. So he's coming to make a name for himself after a couple JUCO transfers and then going to Eastern Washington. Thank God he got out of that program, goes to a much better program, and it's in Nashville, so it's a little more fun there. But yeah, I think they're going to have another good run, maybe be competitive enough to win the conference just for how wide open this is this year. But I expect them to be in the top 5 for sure of the Missouri Valley this year, yet again.
Yeah, they're Noah said high floor. I laid out the floor. The floor is 20 wins in 4th place. So can they take the next step, crack into that top 2 where they were in the OVC? I think this is their best shot yet. Bringing back five rotational pieces of last year, and I thought that when I saw McLean coming over, I was like, I remember Kevin McLean once upon a time with Belmont. So yeah, he's familiar with this program. Yeah, he hasn't played for Alexander, but having his brother play in this program, that's almost like having a returning piece. So yeah, I'm all over Belmont. Top 3 finish here for me. We'll see how high I end up having them at the end. Next up, well, this is another easy program to sell. This is the Bradley Braves, and Bradley has been awesome under Brian Wardle. I keep thinking Brian Wardle might get a Big Ten job one of these years. He's been at Bradley now 10 years, and the last 3 years have really been a nice renaissance. 25 wins, 23 wins, 28 wins, all 3 top 3 finishes. Ironically, they have not played in the tournament in any of these years, which is kind of crazy, just because they've had so much success in the regular season, having 16 wins, 13 wins, 15 wins. So, Noah, I want to bank on this program. They've had 1 losing season since 2016, and that was the COVID year. So, and where they're located, there definitely are some limitations during that time period. But I love Bradley once again here, headed into the new season with the oldest tenured coach here, and Brian Wardle.
Yeah, for sure. And very good defensive foundation with Wardle. 4 straight defenses that have been top 105 nationally. Last year was just outside the top 100. But that place is just Peoria is such a tough building to go into and get a win in the Valley. It's one of your better home. There's a lot of good home court environments in this conference, but that's one of the better ones. Bradley is banking on some internal development with this team because you lose some stars in Duke Dean, Zeke Montgomery, and even some role players in Christian Davis are out of this team as well for this upcoming season. And Darius Hannah too, who played 30 minutes a game last season. So it's a little bit younger and inexperienced. They have 4 rotational players coming back from last year. They have a Jaquan Johnson, who was a freshman last year, played 18 minutes at the point guard spot. He's 5'11", averaged 2.5 assists a game last year, 2.5 boards as well. Was able to get after it down low. Demarion Birch is a 6'4" junior that's back. He played 13 minutes a game last season. Amat Janovic, 7-footer, is a senior this upcoming season. He played 16 minutes, but he stuffed the stat sheet when he was on the floor, averaged 5.5 and 4.5 with just under a block a game and shot 58% when he was on the hardwood. And then Corey Thomas provides a little bit of depth at the 5. He's a 6'10" senior, played 12 minutes a game last year, and he was also pretty serviceable when he was on the floor. The hand-picked portal grabs are, I think, what your ceiling outcome if these guys all hit. Bradley could be back in title contention, but I don't necessarily have them doing that. But it starts with Alex Hebrexte. Probably didn't drill that, but he's coming from Wright State, where he was a knockdown shooter from deep last season, took 7.5 threes a game at a 37.5% clip, averaged 13.5 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. And he provides a little bit of depth at the point guard position when Johnson's going to need a blow. And then AJ Smith comes in from James Madison, and he's a 6'7" senior forward who played 24 minutes a game for the Dukes last year for a team that split for the Sun Belt Conference title in the regular season. He averaged 7.5 and 6.5. And he was a good defensive piece as well. And then Caillou's the last one, 7-footer from Liberty. Again, there's plenty of depth in the front court here. The backcourt, I think, is pretty talented if a couple of these guys emerge as some serious starters for the Braves this season. No doubt, top 5 team for me. I just I'm not quite as high on him as I was last year, because last year there was just so much evident offensive talent that was going to be there, and that's always kind of been a little bit of a question with Bradley under Brian Wardle. So we'll see what happens this year. Huffer, where do you kind of have them this season?
Yeah, I had Bradley winning the conference preseason last year, so definitely not as high on them as long with you.
Or can I not hear him? Oh shit! Hold on.
Can you not hear me? Hello?
Here, we'll drop Bienick. There we go. Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, my bad. But yeah, I had them winning the conference last year preseason, so certainly not this year. They're definitely going to take a step back, but they're not going to be at the bottom half of this conference under Brian Wardle, even with the talent that they have. I like the pieces that you mentioned, Bienick and Hubregsty and AJ Smith from James Madison coming in. I think those are good transfer pieces. And then Timothy Vanderknapp, who kind of played at the latter half of the season last year, a good 6'8" forward for them. New roles here. A lot of guys are going to have to step up and have more significant usage in roles. So I think we could see some speed bumps for Bradley at first, but they're competitive in this conference and they're going to get home wins. So I expect them to be in the top 5 for sure, but certainly not competing, I don't think, for the win for the top half of the conference, but they'll be up there or for the top of the conference, excuse me. They'll be up in that top half, but winning the conference, I don't think is a question for them this year for me. So yeah, middle of the conference, but they'll have a winning record in the Missouri Valley under Wardle.
They were the runaway favorite last year.
Yeah. And then Drake just came out of nowhere. I mean, not really nowhere, but yeah.
I kind of want to buy into the year after the year with Bradley. I think because they took a step back defensively from where they were over the first couple of years, or the 2 years prior to that, where they were really, really damn good. So give me Bradley to be right there to win the league again. Wardle's team's really guard. They have an identity. Everything we said about Belmont, you could kind of say about Bradley. They're just Belmont's the offensive version and Bradley's the defensive version. So these are two programs and coaches I always want to bank on. Oh, yeah. Eric Henderson coming over to Drake did a great job at South Dakota State. We had him on the tour last year, and I was pretty adamant all year that this was going to be his last year in Brookings. From the beginning, like the entire year, I was just like, this is last year. His team's going to be good. And he's going to get another job. And this is a perfect jump from the Jackrabbits, I think, because Drake has been a really stepping stone job to high major jobs. And we see it with Medved now at Minnesota. I know he went to Colorado State, but now he's in the Big Ten. All their guys are in the Big Ten. DeVries is in the Big Ten. McCollum's in the Big Ten. So Eric Henderson will be a future Power 4 coach. That I am very confident in. He took over for Otzelberger in 2019. He won 20-plus 5 out of the 6 years. He finished in the top 3 every single year in the Summit League. It's going to be a new-look Drake team completely, but, I mean, I've seen him do this at South Dakota State. I mean, his first game at South Dakota State, when he had to take over for Otzelberger, they played us at West Virginia, and we were top 10 in the country, and they gave us everything they could handle with a young freshman named Baylor Shireman and a bunch of other guys that ended up transferring up. So this guy could just flat out coach. Perfect hire by Drake once again. They'll be good again.
It was definitely one of the more impressive coaching jobs last year in the mid-majors. He had a ton of newcomers on the roster, whether it be freshmen or young inexperienced sophomores that were getting major minutes around a Oscar Clough, who, where was he at previously? And he didn't have one of the better years his sophomore season, I believe it was. So there was a lot of questions with that Jackrabbit squad, and they just, outperformed expectations big time. And this squad again has those young, inexperienced depth pieces that go into the portal and they try to put together a little bit of a rotation here. My biggest question is the point guard spot, though. Owen Larson was incredible his freshman year at South Dakota State. He's the only one that followed Henderson to Drake, but he had a torn ACL in the back half of the season last year. And young guard coming off ACL, he's going to be good to go because somehow miraculously, like, the surgeries and the ACL recoveries just don't take as long anymore. But there's some question about him possibly playing like 30 minutes a game. And if it's not him, then you're going to have to turn to one of these freshmen to possibly run the point, or it'd be Jalen Quinn, who comes in from Loyola Chicago, a 6'3" senior guard who played 20 minutes a game for the Ramblers last season. He wasn't the greatest shooter last year, but Loyola Chicago is not really a superb offensive system with Drew Valentine over there. Definitely more defensive focused. And you can see that there is a little bit of an effort to bring in some active defenders in the squad because Jayshawn Thomas at Charlotte is capable defender as well as a 6'3" senior, but he was also a pretty good shooter. Shot 37% from 3-on-3 attempts a game with the Clits last season, averaged 9.5 points, 3.5 boards, over assists per game as well. They bring in a guy, a 7-footer from Denver, and Isaiah Carr. He played 17.5 minutes a game last year in the Summit League with Henderson, so I would like to believe that he believes that this guy is a capable piece in the Missouri Valley because you're only 7-footer on the team. You don't need 7-footers in the Valley, but also the depth behind him is young and inexperienced. You've got Oku Federico from South Carolina, where he didn't play last year. So we'll see what kind of talent he brings into the bunch to kind of supplement that the minutes at the 5 there. And then the final projected starter from the transfer portal is Wilkins Jr. Exacta from Bowling Green. He's a 6'6" junior forward who played 18 minutes a game last year and didn't really do a whole lot when he was on the floor, stuff in the stat sheet, but he was a nice defensive piece again. But like I mentioned, there's a couple of freshmen that he brings over from his recruiting classes with South Dakota State. And then there's Eli Shetler, who did not play at Indiana State last year. He redshirted. So there's just youth on the bench that I have some questions about. And I have Drake still in the top half of the league because they're a solid program and Henderson's a good coach, but I don't have him in the top 5. So Huffer, do you agree with me on that?
I think they'll be around the 5. I mean, I can't not say Eric Henderson's going to have his guys going. They have all new pieces, so a whole new unit going to have to learn how to work together. But tons of time, tons of development, a lot of practices, and Henderson's been able to translate new pieces and young guys immediately into workhorses. Zeke Mayo, Oscar Clough, for a couple of them. He brings over Owen Larson from South Dakota State. He's a great three-point shooter. So these teams are going to be shooting high percentage shots under Henderson. I like his offensive efficiency as a coach and what he brings to his players. I think he brings a lot of intangibles as a coach as well. He knows how to win. Do I expect a Ben McCollum year 1 season for Eric Henderson? Absolutely not. But hey, you never know. It's Drake. They've been pouring funds into the basketball program. They've had a good basketball team throughout all their coaches. And I think Henderson's a great hire for sure, and definitely a stepping stone into a P5 school eventually. But I'm excited for Owen Larson. If they can spread the floor, kind of like they similarly did to last year, and how they were always competitive in the Summit League under Henderson and South Dakota State, I think he'll be fine in the Missouri Valley long term. But yeah, maybe some speed bumps at first, not as of a competitive season or a winning record like they've had in the years past, but I think definitely they'll be flirting with that top 5 in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, I got him in my top 5. I trust Henderson. I laid out his track record as a head coach, and he took over a solid program just like this one. And I trust him in the portal to get guys buy-in. You mentioned Clough last year. He came over from Wazoo, and he really excelled in that Jackrabbits offense. So a new group. Larson's got to be able to run the point, but I trust Henderson to be able to allocate those roles and get those guys to buy in, especially by conference play. So I'm excited to see this era at Drake. I'm also excited to talk about MyBookie.ag this season because we're brought to you by MyBookie, your place to bet on basketball, and everything else. Their prop builder is second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, easy deposit and lightning, fast payouts using crypto. So head over to MyBookie.ag, use our promo code TCE SGPN for a 100% bet backup bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market. You're getting the best prices over there. Novig is available in 35 plus states. Download that Novig app and get $50 off when you spend $5 and you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig. The promo code is SGPN. We continue on. Next up in this league, another former guest here on the TCE. We got Evansville. We got David Ragland headed into year number 4 now. Every year they've gotten better in the Valley. Last year, the overall record, they struggled in the months of November and December, but once they got into league play, they were chippy. They finished 8-12, so they were in the basement year 1 when he took over that horrible, horrible situation. They were god-awful when he got there. Then they jumped up to 6-14. Now they jumped up to 8-12. Ragland building it brick by brick. He's a Thad Matta guy. He also was at Utah State before that. Bounced around in multiple spots. A JUCO former head coach as well, where he was 44-19 at Vincennes, one of the better JUCO jobs in the country in the state of Indiana. Bienick, I like Ragland, man. I think he's the right guy for the job. What's your thoughts on these aces coming into the year?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off your point where he's made some progress after every single season. And last year, he had the second best defense in the league at Evansville. The only issue was that they were the league's worst offense in efficiency per KenPom. So very low bar to clear with the offense. But I think there's some steps in talent that they've acquired through the portal that they may be able to take a step up, because they do return 4 guys from last year, 2 guys that played over 20 minutes a game, and they're both in the front court. Joshua Hughes played 29.5 minutes a game last season, averaged 7-5 with over a block per game. And he can step out and shoot it for you, but he didn't shoot it great last season. We'll see what happens this time around. And then Connor Turnbull is expected to be a upcoming or a breakout star for this coming season. He played 22 minutes a game last year, averaged 9 and 4.5 with 2 blocks a game. And he played 22 minutes a game. So he expand his role a little bit more. And I think that he's going to be a pretty damn good player in this league. The questions in the backcourt. You've got returning Kaya Barrage, who played 12 minutes a game his freshman season. You have Trent Hundley on the wing, who's a 6'6" senior, played 5.5 minutes a game. But a lot is being put on Bryce Quinnett, the freshman, to come in and be a point guard for this team for 20 minutes a game. He comes in as a 3-star recruit, and he's athletic, good off the bounce, and he's going to be expected to distribute the ball to a guy like Alex Hemingway, who he's been a very talented shooter at previous stops. Defense is a little bit questionable, but at Clemson in 2023-24 season, he shot 42% from 3 on 4 attempts a game in just 15.5 minutes. He's going to be such a huge piece for this offense. And they've also got some other buy low talent gets in the portal, and an AJ Casey, a 6'9" senior forward from St. Louis, and a Marlon Burns Jr., a 6'6" redshirt sophomore from Pitt. Both of those guys barely played last year, but will come into Evansville and look to contribute alongside Keyshawn Porter, who's a 6'5" fifth-year senior, played 25.5 minutes a game last year for North Carolina Central. He shot 37.5% from 3 on 2.5 attempts a game, averaged 11 points per game. They've really kind of supplemented and attempted to add some offense to this team. And you've got the pretty dang good front court that, stuff the stat sheet in multiple different ways, especially on defense. We'll see how this backcourt glues together, but I definitely think it's a step out of the basement. Last year, they finished 10th with 8 wins. This year, I think they can finish with 9 or 10 wins in the Valley and finish around 7th or 8th. That's where I have the Purple Aces this year.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think their roster improved, and I like Ragland not only because he's a friend of the program, but also just because he's a proven winner. Like Mac mentioned, Vincennes, shout out Vincennes. So he's familiar with the Southwest Indiana area, and Evansville. He walked into a shitstorm. There was coaches hooking up with cheerleaders, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
nonsense. I mean, and this was coming off an Evansville coach that had just beat Kentucky in Rupp Arena long time ago. So this has been an absolute gut and rebuild for Evansville and Ragland. So I think giving him time is certainly okay, and his records don't quite show the success that he can have. This is their time to take the next jump. Bienick, all the players that you mentioned, they're talented on paper. I like that the freshmen that they brought in. I mean, Leif Garrett, that guy's a cool name. And then Bryce Kinye, from a freshman who's from Scottsdale, Arizona, averaged 20.5 points per game in high school. So maybe going in and getting the inexperienced players is good long term. I don't think Evansville is going to be as competitive as maybe expected, but yeah, 7th or 8th in the conference is good for them, and going in the right direction to get them to where they need to be. I'm just kind of worried more about their depth once March comes, February comes, injuries. You've done how many practices, a lot of games kicking in. That's when winning matters, and that's when teams really come together after they've been familiar with themselves, continuity, getting in the locker room together. That's where winning matters, especially in college basketball late in the season. So if they can take this talent to the next level by developing them and focusing on that cohesive unit as a team, they'll be good. But I am worried if they get injured, they don't have many pieces to fall back towards. So yeah, I think 7th, 8th is a good bet for Evansville. But I really like David Ragland and what he's going to be building here in the future for the Purple Aces.
Yeah, I like you said, they got an identity. They're good defensively. That gives them a pretty high floor, in my opinion. I don't think the wheel or the bottom will fall out under Ragland. Last year, it looked like it might, but then he was able to ready the ship in conference play. So bringing back some production here, some guys that played, especially in the front court. I think they'll be chippy again, and I think they'll probably be in the middle of the pack. Next up, the Redbirds, baby. Illinois State, Ryan Pedon, another former guest. Man, I had the whole fucking Valley on last year. I basically hosted media days. Great third year. They've jumped every single year here. 11 to 15 to 22. They win the CBI last year. They finished 5th in the conference. So 48 and 52 in his 3 years. They have a lot coming back, Noah. Do they take another jump in year 4 under Pedon?
So this is the inverse of Evansville. Last year, Illinois State had the second best offense in the Missouri Valley, but the league's worst defense. And they returned 4 guys that played 20-plus minutes a game last year. There's a lot of hype around the Redbirds for this upcoming season and Ryan Pedon. Johnny Kingziger comes back. He shot 38.5% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, played 33 minutes, averaged 14.5 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. He's going to be a large piece of this offense coming back. You also have Landon Wolf, a 6'5" redshirt senior, played 21 minutes a game last season, shot 35.5% from 3 on 3 attempts a game. There's Chase Walker in the front court, who's a 6'9" junior, played 24 minutes a game, averaged 15 and 6. He was 58% from the floor. Definitely one of your better offensive front court pieces in the league this upcoming season. And Ty Pence comes back as well. He's a 6'6" junior wing, played 23.5 minutes a game last year, averaged 7.5 and 4, shot 36.5% from 3 on 2 attempts a game. That's a very good core surrounding, a couple of handpicked portal gets. You also have a Jack Doherty, a 6'8" sophomore last year, played 12 minutes a game as a freshman. He took almost 4 threes a game in his limited role, but he shot it at 47.5%. So a little bit more of an expanded role, and he might be a killer on the wing, as well as a Brandon Lieb, who did not play last year due to injury, but he's a 7-footer, graduate senior this upcoming season, and provides a lot of very good depth in the front court alongside Cameron Barnes, who's a 6'10" redshirt sophomore, played 6 minutes a game as a freshman last year. The 2 handpicked kind of portal grabs for this team are some guards. Definitely need some point guard depth, and you have Landon Moore coming in from Butler, who's projected to start. He's a 6'3" senior, coming in, expecting to play a big chunk of minutes for the first time in a few years in his career, and expected to contribute big time right away. Another guy that's really good with the ball in his hands for this team. And then a Bowden Schoenberg, who transfers in from North Dakota State last year. He was also hurt, but he's a 6'5" grad senior wing piece who played 34 minutes a game in 2023-24, averaged 14 points, 5.5 boards with the Bison. He can shoot it as well. Shot 34% from 3 on 4.5 attempts a game. The offense is going to hum. They need the defense to improve, and they're looking kind of within a little bit more commitment from the same guys in the same core. So we'll see about the Redbirds this season. I do think that they might be a little bit weak at the 5 defensively. That would be the one weakness of this team and kind of where they were picked apart last year. Huffer, are you kind of seeing the same things with Illinois State?
Yeah, I'm actually really high on this team. I think bringing back Chase Walker, Johnny Kinzinger, I mean, these guys, Chase Walker even could be competing for Player of the Year in this conference. So the experience that you have, you end the season on a high, like Mac mentioned, winning the CBI. They also were competitive in Missouri Valley games. And a lot of the Sharps liked Illinois State last year, but maybe it was a year or two early as these guys garnered experience under themselves, starting to mature a little bit, finding out how systems work in the Missouri Valley and other teams' offensive and defensive schemes, getting some film under them. Now you're coming back in. Momentum's definitely high, especially with all your returning starters. You got to think this team's going to be competing for a Missouri Valley Conference championship in the regular season, maybe even flirting with an NCAA tournament bid. As you look at that old little, cell phone bar, it keeps going up under Ryan Pedon and what he has. I like their offense. He kind of has that spread the floor mentality, positionless basketball, and he's gonna make sure that you pass it 5 to 6 times versus all that ISO nonsense that we've seen so much in the game of basketball. But yeah, I mean, I said about Northern Iowa. If you call these teams a staples, these guys are X-Acto knives here at Illinois State, so they know how to cut up a rug. And I'm excited for Illinois State, man. I really like this team. I may be a little too high on them, but I think with all the momentum that they have and at ending the season and then bringing back so many pieces and then having a couple additions, yeah, they may be weaker on the front court, but if they're shooting shots and able to defend the perimeter, they'll be just fine in the Missouri Valley. So I like them, and I think they're a top 3 team in this conference.
Well, it should be noted, too, that they started 2-5 in league play. So they finished, 8-5 in their last, 13 games in the Valley, and then they lost a game to Belmont in the quarters, but then you win 3 more. So, I mean, they really finished the year strong over the last 15 games. I think you bring back all that production, and you got to think Pedon's freaking challenging them defensively all offseason that, hey, we didn't win. We didn't jump into the top 4 because we weren't good defensively. They're a year older. This is a contender. With all this returning production, and every year, one step up under Pedon. The Redbirds will contend here for the Missouri Valley. Let's go. Next up. All right, so I put Graves on here. I know he's taking a leave of absence. He just had a procedure bypass. So
triple bypass, which is crazy.
Yeah. So I kept him on here just because out of respect and thoughts and prayers with him and his family, and hopefully he gets better and that able to return to the sideline one day when the time's right. So stepping in for Graves is going to be Mark Schlesinger. So Bienick, what's your take on this roster? Obviously they got a lot of things going on off the court with their coach not being healthy right now, but what's your take on this actual roster with the Sycamores?
Yeah, I view this kind of similarly to last year's South Florida team, where it's the vision of the head coach. Graves and Schertz both came in from the D2 level, and they recruit the Division II and NAIA hard. And you can see that influence on this roster once again. Last year's defense was terrible, and I struggle to see that kind of improving this season outside of maybe a transfer that we'll touch on here a little bit. I just want it known, even if Graves was the coach, I was having Indiana State in the bottom half of the standings once again this season. That was just my expectations. I don't have super high expectations for this group. They do bring back a couple of guys that played 20 minutes a game last season. Camp Wagner is back, and he was money from deep, shot 38% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. He played 26.5 minutes, averaged 10 points and 3 boards. And then Marcus Harding, the big man's back, a 6'10 graduate senior for the upcoming season. Last year, he played 18 minutes a game and averaged 6.5 and 4. Shot 33% from deep on 2 attempts a game. Bruno Allison played 23 minutes a game as a freshman last year. He's a 6'6 wing, shot 35.5% from 3 on 3.5 attempts a game, but he's kind of one of the guys that maybe they'll try to see if they can get some better defensive performance out of a couple of the transfers that we'll talk about in a second. They've got Derek Vorst, who played 12 minutes a game last year as a 6'10 junior forward, 6'6 sophomore forward, and Jaden Walker, who comes back after playing 10.5 minutes a game, and then Cooper Bean, who played 3.5 minutes a game last year. They're repairing the backcourt after a couple of big losses. You got Xavier Hall coming in from D2 Truman State. He averaged 14 points, 3.5 boards, 6 assists last season with over a steal a game in the Division II level. He shot 43.5% from 3 on 2.5 attempts a game. Sterling Young comes in from the Rattlers of Florida A&M. He shot 35% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. He was more of like a volume shooter for Florida A&M last season. That role will be cut back a little bit, but maybe the efficiency goes up. He averaged 17 points per game. So I think that's a big piece for Indiana State. And I think possibly your best defender on this team is an NAI transfer from Grace, Ian Scott, a 6'7 graduate senior who averaged 18 and 8 with 4.5 assists. He averaged almost 2 blocks a game and just over a steal per game as well. He did a little bit of everything at the NAI level. We'll see if that translates as a 6'7 forward, but they're pretty high on his defensive ability. They bring in a couple of Euros and Jovan Bugenhout and then Enel St. Bernard. He comes in from junior college at Panola, where he averaged 7 and 7.5 with 2.5 blocks per game as a 6'6 junior forward. So a couple of these guys transferring up with some defensive ability, but a little bit undersized for the league. And I just want to see it to believe it. So I've got Indiana State taking, well, I mean, they took a step back last year. I don't really have them taking a step forward this year. I've still got them in the bottom half of the league. Hoffer, do you agree with your home state Sycamores?
Yeah, no love in Paradise, unfortunately. But I will shout out Grace College, where my lake cottage is, in Winona Lake, Indiana, northern Indiana. So thanks for the shout out there. But I love it. I love Indiana State. I like the program. I got a lot of respect for them. No hatred. Got to root for them for being Indiana. But yeah, it's going to be a massive step back, unfortunately, and maybe just a plateau, like you mentioned. So much NAI talent, so much JUCO talent that does it translate? I mean, going to the mid-major level D1, it should. I think basketball, there's so much volume in the amount of basketball there is that talent goes unnoticed. So it doesn't matter where you start. But I am kind of worried about their talent translating in this case for the Missouri Valley. And then you have all this issues with shirts or Graves, unfortunately. And I don't know if they can rally behind that. It's just been a lot of drama this season, and it's unfortunate. Prayers out to him, his family, and glad that everything's hopefully okay and just for his road to recovery. But yeah, I mean, this team can induce problems, no pun intended, and not trying to play on any health issues there, but just that this team lacks offensive efficiency. And then how high they were 2 years prior with Shirts and Avila and Swope and all of them just getting short of the NCAA tournament. It's just feels like a rebuilding process time for Indiana State, and I think it's going to take a few years even to get this program back with who they're going into the develop with their younger talent. So yeah, they're at the bottom half of the conference for me, but I think they'll be feisty at home and randomly sneak some wins. So maybe not dead last, but in the bottom half for sure.
I got him in the bottom tier. For if you're Indiana State and you want a case why you could be excited about Schlesinger. Schlesinger was the head coach of New Orleans the last decade, so I mean, at least you're getting experience in this interim role. It's not like it's somebody that's not used to calling ball plays. So, but roster's a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, and Just a lot of moving pieces, so they're going to be at the bottom by default for me. Let's shout out another sponsor here, Bienick, and that is Underdog. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get 100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is crushing college football, NFL, and the NBA, and soon to be college hoops. They're also giving away weekly cash prizes for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets in the same type for any model you build, and you can win $1,000. Use our promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm and use our promo code SGPN25. Next up on the dock, we got a new coach in the league. We got Ryan Miller coming over from the Creighton Blue Jays. So first-time head coach, but I'm going to be pretty high on the hire because I like the McDermott coaching tree. We've seen a lot of guys have success under McDermott, whether it's Otzelberger, Alan Huss, just the first two that come to mind. And there's one other that's really good. DeVries. DeVries worked with McDermott as well. So yeah, multiple guys have been on that coaching tree and had success right away. He also was with Jamie Dixon for 5 years at TCU. So he's worked for proven winners here. He's walking into a basketball job, Murray State. I talk about it all the time how much they care there. Bienick, what's your thoughts on this new era down there in Murray, Kentucky?
It is, in my opinion, a very low floor, but a super high ceiling. So wherever you want to strap in on the roller coaster, whether you're a guy that wants to sit in the front or a guy that wants to sit in the back and be able to see the drop come, it's kind of a choose your own level of difficulty of where you want to prognosticate Murray State finishing. To me, I'm all in. I think Murray State's got some real danger to them in the Missouri Valley for this upcoming season, and you can see the philosophy of the roster building kind of shift in college basketball over these last couple of years, especially with two of my favorite programs and Dusty May at Michigan and Todd Golden at Florida coming into the season. Just they're built with these aircraft carriers up front, and Murray State's got that too in spades. So much depth up front, so many big men. That is definitely the strength, and it's definitely one of your best front courts in the league this year. He brings in 2 Creighton guys with him, both of them big men, and Frederick King and Mason Miller. Mason Miller, more of a rotational piece that can step out and shoot it for you. And King didn't get a whole lot of playing time at the 5 because, I mean, he was playing behind Ryan Kalkbrenner for a couple of years. So those are 2 good, solid pieces in the front court. You also have JJ Traynor coming in from DePaul. He's a 6'9" senior, played 17 and a half minutes a game for the Blue Demons in the Big East last season. You have a 7-footer in Dylan Anderson from Boise State, who's a redshirt junior and played 10 minutes a game. Very, very talented buy low group there from some power programs. But the big name is Roman Doman, who comes in from France, and this guy's legit, and he models his game after Luka. He's a bigger Luka, skinnier Luka Doncic, but wears number 77, and this dude can do a little bit of everything offensively, and defensively he's a little bit more committed than I would say Luka is. It's just he's a very dynamic player, I would say, and really adds to this front court, and he's going to be able to do a little bit of everything, handle the ball and shoot, and he'll be a very good offensive player for this team to go along with a backcourt that I think, they go out and get Lane Taylor, who's just a shot creator to his core. Last year as a freshman in the Sun Belt with Central Arkansas, he put up 17 and a half points per game and shot 9.5 threes a game. In no world is he going to be asked to do as much as the Bears asked him to do last year. But as a 5'11" point guard, he's going to be able to throw the ball around a ton to so many weapons on this team. And I think they've really geared him up. And this kid succeeded as a freshman, playing 35.5 minutes a game. I think he's going to be ready to go in the Missouri Valley. You pair him up with the Javon Jackson coming in from UIC, who played 25.5 minutes a game in this conference last year. He's a 6'3" senior guard. I think that's a really dangerous backcourt pairing, along with some depth in a KJ Tenor from West Virginia, who came in as a freshman point guard depth piece for Darian DeVries last year and played 13 minutes a game. He got helped out with a little bit of injuries in front of him that really opened up a runway for his role. And then you have a Ben Schultzberg from UC Santa Barbara, and these guards just always are able to shoot in Pasternak's system. Braden Shorter comes in from Division II Washburn, where he shot 36.5% from three on 9.5 attempts a game. The depth is just like there on this team, and there's a lot of talent that's evident here. A little bit of a some mouths to feed type of issue that Ryan Miller will have to figure out early, but I think there's good front court defense. There'll be plenty of talent offensively for this group. I have Murray State as the front runner, just with all of this just abundance of offensive ability being thrown at him, and like Mac mentioned, just the Creighton coaching tree under McDermott has been pretty dang good. So I like Murray State a lot this year.
You can add Steve Lutz on that tree too, and you can add Eric Henderson at Drake. So 2 other names I missed on the tree. Huff, what's your take on Murray?
Those are pretty good teams, and I got to ask the Big 12 expert. I'm high on Oklahoma State and Steve Lutz this year 2. So, but that's for another day. Yeah, I think he can get them going. But building a roster from scratch, it's never easy. But if you take the Creighton way, the Creighton method, Bienick, you mentioned height, you mentioned size. I think that's a huge thing that Creighton's always developed. If you can get guys that can rebound but also be able to bang threes, then who else are you looking for? And that could be a huge advantage. As we've mentioned, a lot of their disadvantages on these teams have been in the front court. With Murray State having a high front court, or with high potential in their front court, they could dominate down low with second chance opportunities. This is a prestigious program. Prohm comes back for a second year or second stint with Murray State, and it didn't go so well. So now it's just a whole new rebrand and rebuild. And we've seen success from first-year coaches in the Missouri Valley as well too. So I think that there definitely could be on the up. But if I had to rank them talent-wise, it's going to be in the middle of the conference. But I think good coaches matter. Coaching matters, as we know in college basketball. And I think long-term Murray State's going to get back to the prominence that they were, because it's been kind of a rough transition in the Valley, coming from the Ohio Valley, being a dominant force there as well.
Good point, Huff. You're selling me even more. You look at Schertz in year 1, McCollum in year 1, and I think it's another year 1 coach in the Missouri Valley that wins it. I love it.
Beginner's luck. Roll the craps. No sevens. Yes.
Let's go.
So this really is an intriguing roster. You got a combination. This is the wild card team for sure, Noah.
It's a low floor, super high ceiling.
Yeah, because I mean, you have the high major Power 5 guys transferring down that should translate, but then you also got extremely high productive guys at the mid major level. I got them in the middle. I'm splitting the difference. I'm gonna trust the guys that I've seen win before in this league over Miller. But it wouldn't shock me if they're right there competing, to your point, Noah, for league title. One thing about Murray too, they care and they have a great fan base. So I have them in the middle. I want to see this new era, though. I'm excited.
For a seasonal phrase, there are plenty ways to carve a pumpkin.
Oh, yeah. There's been plenty of ways to carve a pumpkin in Cedar Falls, and that's just what Ben Jacobson's done year after year after year. This guy's a winner. 374 career wins. He's been at Northern Iowa since 2006. So now we're in year number 20 now. Last 2 years have been a nice little run in this portal era. I think it took him a minute to adjust to it. He got his roster rated at the beginning of this new era. They kind of took it on the chin that 22-23 year, but still they've won the regular season 5 times. They've been to the NCAA tournament another 5 times. They've won an NCAA tournament game. I think they've been to a Sweet 16. Everybody remembers them beating Kansas once upon a time in 2009. They have an identity. They're tough. They're going to play white boy basketball. They're going to play through the high post. They're going to be a pain in your ass, and they're going to make you beat them. So they'll be good again. They're a contender again, Bienick.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about it, like he got rated early in this era of college basketball, but he's figured it out. And kudos to him, because you lose a Titan Anderson who's out of eligibility, and also Jacob Hudson, who played 24 minutes a game last year, who's also moved on from college basketball. But you did not lose anybody from your rotation to the transfer portal. So big hat tip to a mid-major coach and Ben Jacobson, who just figured it out and was able to, keep everybody happy. And, with that comes continuity and experience. And Northern Iowa has plenty of it this year, from a roster that was the 5th best offense in the league last year and 3rd best defense. We talked about Illinois State and not having the defensive success last year. We talked about who was Evansville, who didn't have the offensive success last year. Northern Iowa had a little bit of both. They finished 3rd. This is your Bradley of last year, where they're like, okay, we're bringing everybody back. Let's run it back, and we'll see what happens. To me, I guess pulling up the Bradley reference and also the first-year head coaches, that's where I have Northern Iowa. I have them coming in second because I like the variance a little bit more with the Racers. But there's everything to love with this roster as well. 3 returning seniors that played 25 minutes a game in the backcourt. Trey Campbell comes back after averaging 3 assists a game, 12 points, 4 boards, shot 43% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. Max Weisbrod the back after playing 24.5 minutes a game, shot 40.5% from 3 on 3.5 attempts. Ben Schwieger, a 6'8" redshirt senior wings back after playing 30 minutes a game, averaging 10 and 5 with over an assist per game, and shot 36.5% from 3 and 49% from the floor. Will Hornzith is back. Last year as a freshman, as a 6'8" big man, he played 14.5 minutes a game. He'll have a lot more runway to earn the role at the 5, but defense is maybe a little bit of a question mark for him there in that position. They go out and they grab Ismail Diouf, who is very talented defensively, comes in from NC State. He's a 6'9" senior big man. And Marino Dubrovic coming in from Baylor, who's got some offense to his game. He's a 6'10" sophomore. He didn't play a whole lot his freshman year at Baylor. But the big newcomer that they are excited about, their brand new toy, is the NAIA All-American Tristan Smith. He played 30 minutes a game, and this kid was a star at the NAIA level. Put up 20.5 points per game, 8.5 boards, 4 assists, over a steal per game, over a block and a half per game, shot 39% from 3, 69% from the floor. He was a point forward that did it all at Concordia last year, and he's going to insert himself into this UNI team, and I think he's going to be huge. And we'll see how much of the 5 he plays with UNI. He played a little bit at Concordia there last year, but I think they're going to, in the Missouri Valley, where there's a lot more size than the NAIA, you're going to want to keep him out of foul trouble if he's going to turn into a very big contributor for this group. And like I think he may. You also have a Leon Bond who played 26 minutes a game, he's going to be in a position battle with Smith. Last year, he averaged 9.5 and 4.5 at this level, and we'll see what happens with that kind of dynamic, as he's going to be the 6th man off the bench, a very good 6th man in the Missouri Valley. And RJ Taylor's back after playing 21.5 minutes a game. He played a little bit of the point, and he offers some depth at the 1. He averaged 2 assists a game last year and 7.5 points. Not much of a shooter there, but definitely a good ball handler that adds some depth for this group. And Kyle Pock's back after playing 10 minutes a game, and Radek Bourne played 7.5 minutes a game his freshman year. Both of them some wings for this team. Northern Iowa's got a little bit of everything for you to like, except maybe a true rim protector for the Missouri Valley. That might be the one hole that if you were told to poke a hole in a true contender for the league title this year, it may be at the 5. We'll see defensively how good the Panthers are, but I think UNI is legit this year, boys.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I have them winning this conference regular season. I think on paper, you bring in Trey Campbell. How many 4-year starters for one program in college basketball these days? Insane. Even before the portal era, it was tough to find that. And now you have someone with continuity. He loves the Northern Iowa. He bleeds purple and yellow. So I like Trey Campbell, and Ben Schweiger, you mentioned, Max Weisbrod, all these guys. They spread the floor. There's not going to be a key player, but there's going to be a lot of guys that can step up at certain times when needed. And I think that matters, and they bring a lot of depth, way more than other teams in this conference. So come March, come April, or excuse me, April, maybe, but definitely March, at the end of the season, that's going to matter, especially in a Missouri Valley Conference Championship tournament that, depth is all that matters to staying healthy. And with the experience they bring, experience wins in college basketball. Doesn't matter the talent. A lot of older teams do well, especially in conference play. And I think Northern Iowa is going to do just that. And I'm super high on them this year, being able to win. And of course, a tough place to play in Cedar Falls. So, I love UNI. I think they're going to be very competitive and be at the top half of this conference for sure, and competing for a Missouri Valley regular season title.
Experienced backcourt, experienced coach. Year 20 is going to be a good one for Jacobson. You can pencil them in for 20 plus, right there to win the league title in year 20. Guy's an unbelievable coach, and he's only 54. He's been there 20 years, and he's only 54 years old. He's going to be there. I mean, he looks the part too, health wise. He could be there literally 40 years. This is an incredible run he's been on there, and hopefully he keeps on winning and plugging on. Guy that's had a hell of a career is Scott Nagy, man. Scott Nagy's got almost 600 career wins. Been unbelievable at the mid-major level, multiple stops. We talked about South Dakota State with Eric Henderson. This is another guy that really got South Dakota State going in the mid-90s into what? He was there 20 years? Yeah. He was there when they transitioned from Division II in the North Central Conference up to Division I in the Summit League, where he took him to the NCAA tournament 3 times, won 3 different Summit League championships. He won Division II championships in the conference. He won like 4 or 5 of those as well. This guy's a proven winner. He was good at Wright State. He took them to the dance twice as well. They were always in the top half of the league. Last year was his first losing season in conference play since 2008 or 2009 at South Dakota State. I'll make a bold prediction. He's not going to have 2 losing seasons in a row. He figured it out. He's going to figure it out here in Carbondale. This is a sleeping giant here with Bruce Weber and Lowry when they had this thing go and got to a Sweet 16. This fan base cares too, Bienick.
Yeah, they do care, but you put me on the spot with something that I wasn't going to mention, but I was a little disappointed with like their turnout at games last year.
Yeah.
They kind of have endured hard times, a couple of losing seasons in a row, and I don't know. This is one of the great home environments that when it's rocking, it's really rocking. But they need to rejuvenate that thing, and I don't think it's Nagy's fault. Year one it was just a below 500 year and a solid mid-major conference. I mean, you're asking for quite a bit, and the demand's high in Carbondale now, I guess. You've got a couple of returners on this team as well. Damian Mayo Jr., 6'3" senior guard who played 24 minutes a game. Drew Steff, a redshirt sophomore, played 26 minutes a game for the Salukis last year as a 6'5" wing. He shot 37.5% from 3 on 3.5 attempts a game. And then you also bring back a couple of role players, and Davion Sykes, who played 17.5 minutes a game as a 6'6" senior, and 6'11" redshirt senior, and Jorge Moreno, who played 7.5 minutes a game. And then Rollins Aligbe, a 6'9" sophomore, last year played 12 minutes a game as a freshman. And they were like, oh, you know what? Let's go get Prince Aligbe from Seton Hall, who's a senior for the upcoming year. He was pretty good with the Pirates last season. Very good defender in the front court. And he played 23.5 minutes a game last season, averaged 8 and 3.5 as a rotational piece for the Shaheen Holloway's group last season. Comes in to play with Rollins, and that'll be a fun front court to pay attention to. They also repair the backcourt a little bit from the production they lost through the transfer portal. Kaelron House comes in from Jacksonville State. Last year as a freshman, played 26.5 minutes a game for the Gamecocks, averaged 8.5 points, 2.5 boards, 3 assists, over a steal per game as well. We'll see about the the Valpo transfer, Isaiah Stafford. He was expected to do big-time things last year and then did not play for the Beacons. He's a 6'2" redshirt senior guard who played 32 minutes a game in 2023-24 season. He averaged 17 points. But just the common theme on this roster is it lacks a little bit of shooting talent, and we'll see if they're able to unlock that. Nagy's a good offensive coach, so I believe that this offense will be able to get going. But that's the big question for me. Is a lot of these guys didn't really put the ball in the basket efficiently in their last season of college basketball, and the depth is a little young, a little inexperienced, and a couple of guys are going to have to step up into some backup and rotational pieces and provide some depth if there's an injury or two. I think that was the same kind of thing that bit the Salukis last year, and we'll see if they have some better luck this time around. So one other piece I didn't mention was the 7-footer Max Picard from St. Louis. He was a freshman last year that barely saw the floor, and we'll see what happens this year. He's by far the tallest guy on the roster, and he may get some run, but I don't have a whole lot of expectations there. Huffer, you were high on Southern Illinois when we were talking in the pre-show. What do you think about the Salukis this season?
I think it's got to be a step-up year. I mean, Nagy's a good coach. All the offense that he bred under Wright State, I think it's going to come to fruition. It just takes time on these rebuilds unless you magically get the transfer portal concoction correct. And he just didn't quite do that last year. They lacked both sides of the ball talent-wise. They couldn't defend worth anything. But I think they do beef up their defense, especially in the guard play. It's not your normal offense under Scott Nagy, like you mentioned, Noah. Some weird efficiency ratings there. But I love Kelron House, who transferred in from Jacksonville State. And then also, the two freshmen as well, Daniel Polanconis. So look out for him, Noah. Big guy. So could be advantageous to those kind of holes that we've mentioned at the 5 spot with these teams. And I think, their home court, you mentioned it hasn't been as impressive, and I agree. But this is a home court, a good program. People should care about this basketball team. I think Nagy's the right coach to get them there. I'm higher on them. I think they're going to compete better than last season. Flirting with the top 5, maybe not quite into the top 5, but an improved record than 14-19 last year. And I think their non-conference is going to set them up right for conference play in the Missouri Valley eventually with year 2 for Scott Nagy at Southern Illinois.
Yeah, second oldest team too in the league. So I mean, they got a lot of experience. I know it's a new backcourt, but I'm going to trust Nagy to find a way to get them better offensively than expectations. Like I said, first losing season in 15 years. I think that defensively they'll be good again, and I think they'll take a jump offensively. All right, UIC. This was an interesting team last year. I feel like this team was so up and down. Robert Ehsan, 17-14. This is a interesting roster. Noah. He was at UAB. I usually try and lay out their tree. He was a part of the UAB where they were solid under Ehsan. They never had a losing season in conference play. He had never had a losing season. They just were always in the middle of the pack, a lot like what they were last year. Finished 10-10 in league play year 1. What's your takeaway here, Noah?
My takeaway is that they're really focusing on defense. Once again, they finished middle of the pack offensively and defensively. I think this roster is another one that lacks a little bit of offensive talent, but they go into the portal and they grab a lot of high defensive potential players. And that starts off with a BYU guard and Elijah Crawford, who barely played last year as a 6'2" sophomore, and he's going to play off the ball this season, looking to improve on the shooting. And then very active defender along with Makai Lowry, who comes in from Towson. Very good defensive program there. And he's able to get after it on the glass as well. As a 6'7" junior, he averaged 5 boards a game in 21.5 minutes. Limited attempts offensively as a scorer, but he was 52% from the field. And then the same type of deal with Abdul Momo, who was the NEC Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's a 6'7" graduate. And coming into the Missouri Valley, no longer are you going to be as effective of a rim protector as he was in the NEC, averaging over a block and a half a game. But he did average 8.5 points, 6 boards, and shot 59% from the field. And he gives you a little bit of defensive, ability there for sure. And I mean, Ante Beljan comes in from Little Rock, and last year he played 28 minutes a game for them and was a better offensive piece. And this is a guy that I have a sense they're going to run their offense through. He was 57% from the field last year, and in the OVC, averaged 10 and 4.5 with 2 assists. He can give you a little bit of everything. Defensively, we'll see about his game. Again, a little bit of an undersized big in this league. Also on the wing coming in from Binghamton is a knockdown shooter in Chris Walker, best shooter on the roster. Took four threes a game last year for the Bearcats, hit it at a 43.5% clip. I think that's going to translate into the league, taking a step up. How often he's playing, again, coming from the America East into the MVC, it's quite the step. So we'll see. And then you got a very similar 3-and-D guy in Josiah Hammonds, a 6'2" graduate senior from Sam Houston, shot 38.5% from 3 on 4.5 attempts a game, but on a low volume there. But again, Sam Houston, very good defensive program. Same with Cal Baptist. You got Sam Silverstein coming in, a 6'6" graduate senior who played 26 minutes a game, averaged 4 and 6. There's just very big committal on the defensive end of the floor, going out and getting a couple of guys from those type of programs. And Ahmad Henderson's the guy that everything is going to flow around. He's a 5'9" junior point guard who played 24.5 minutes a game last season, averaged 11.5 points, 2.5 assists, over a steal per game, and shot 33.5% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. So UIC is a team that I could see them jumping into the top half because of a much improved defense. But overall, I'm very kind of like lukewarm on this team. I have them kind of in the middle, but I like some other teams' potential a little bit more than the Flames this year. Huffer, similar feelings, or am I off?
No, I think you're right. I mean, talent-wise, they lose a ton of their offensive pieces that were components last year, main components. But yeah, a surprise here for another year one coach. So there's some more proof for you. He had an impressive year one. They lose 5 of their last 6 games last season. So they could have been a 20-win team last year, finishing at the top half of the Missouri Valley, but just a bad stretch at the end of the year. And that's never the time to start losing and getting into a downskirt. So I think we maybe see a difference, a swap, I would say. Maybe they start off a little slower with all their new pieces, but since Coach Ehsan, he's been able to, figure out kind of how other coaches work in the UI or in the Missouri Valley, and could be a little more competitive in conference play. They do have a tough non-con schedule as compared to last year, where they're super competitive going into the Missouri Valley with a great record. So I think it's going to be a step back for year one, a little sophomore slump for the Flames, but. I like Ehsan. I think he's going to breed offensive minds. He's going to focus offensively. He's a great offensive coach and loves his guard play. Where I think Illinois Chicago could shine eventually, but this year is going to be a hurdle and a step back and a sophomore slump here.
Yeah, I'm torn on this team. It's a lot of moving pieces, and I just the floor seems high with Ehsan, but this is a completely new roster, and the talent seems like it's there, but I think I'm higher on a lot of more continuity in this league compared to just kind of another wild card team. Would you say this is the second biggest wild card team, Noah, compared to Murray State?
We're going to talk about the second biggest wild card team next.
Valpo.
Oh, God.
Let's talk a little Valpo. Roger Powell, nice second year, 15 and 19. Coming off the 7 and 25, a former Mark Few assistant. Thought he did a nice job there in year number 2 there at Valpo. Now, they did play a soft non-con, and that did help. But still, he doubled his win total. He went from 12th to 11th in the league play. Yep. Do we get another jump, or what do we get here?
I think that he made positive steps and overachieved expectations last year, but he lost everything.
Yeah.
The only guy he brings back is Justice McNair, who played 11 minutes as a freshman. If you X out the two new coaches in this league at new programs, they lost the most production out of any team in the league, and they're the least experienced team out of any team in this league for the upcoming year. This is a big wild card for me. The bench is extremely young. You got a lot of incoming freshmen that, Powell's trying to build a program here, and a couple of NAI and D2 transfers and JUCO transfers that are going to play some significant roles for this team outside of McNair, who may step into a starting spot for these guys. I have trouble kind of projecting, how this team's going to play out. They do have some length and that's a positive, but again, the depth is a little bit of a concern. Isaiah Barnes comes in from Tulsa. This is a former Michigan kid, for what it's worth. Started his career with Jawan Howard. 28 and a half minutes a game for the Golden Hurricane last year, averaged 9.5 points, 4.5 boards. Owen Deese comes in as a 6'8" redshirt senior from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. He shot 38% from three on 3.5 attempts a game, averaged 10 points, 4 boards, and just over an assist and a half a game in 25.5 minutes. And then we get into a couple of these gambles from D2, NAI, and JUCO. You got a point guard in Mark Brown coming in. He's 5'11" as a junior from Snow Junior College. He averaged 4.5 assists, 3.5 boards, and 13.5 points per game. You've got a NAI transfer from St. Mary's of the Woods and Sean Tupola, who is a 6'9" junior forward. He averaged 14.5 points, 12 boards, 2 blocks a game, and shot 71.5% from the floor. Brody Whitaker is a D2 transfer from U-Indy, a pretty good program over there, but they had a new coach last season, and he transfers out for his final year of basketball. He's a fifth-year senior, is 6'3" guard, averaged 14 points, 4.5 boards, shot 30.5% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. He was a little bit more of a volume scorer, and I think Valpo is going to ask him to do a lot less this season, so maybe that percentage improves a little bit. You also got another UND guy coming in, and Tucker Tornada. Last year as a freshman, he played 20 minutes a game and averaged 7.5 and 6 with over an assist a half per game. And then you got an NAI transfer from Southeastern down in Florida, the Fire, Keontae Thomas, who was a graduate senior last year, played 26 minutes a game, averaged 8.5, 3.5, and 3.5. So a couple of JUCO, NAI, D2 stars, and not a whole lot of continuity. Young bench. It's a 1,000% a wild card team, and so I would say Murray State's got the much higher ceiling as a wild card team than Valparaiso, and I think they're the easy team to kind of stuff in the basement for right now. And if Powell overachieves expectations, it's another hat tip, right, Huff?
Sorry, on mute there. I had to agree with you guys there. Total wild card, tons of transfers leaving last year, whole new regime coming in. Maybe a good thing for the Beacon Crusaders. I like Roger Powell. They do lose my guy AJ Moye from IU, who's assistant coach. He took an AD job at a high school in Southern Indiana by Louisville, but they got a Ball State guy, Jesse McClung. So I support his staff just as well for Valparaiso. But at the same time, man, I don't know. I think it's easy for us to pre-rank them in the bottom. So for me, I'm selfishly going to pre-rank them in the bottom talent-wise because we just don't know. But at the same time, another wild card that, if anything's a higher up than 6-14 last year, finishing 11th, wasn't last because Missouri State was, but now they need to finish better than 11th. That'd be last. I'm sure they have little expectations going into the season, and I think that's a good thing and could breed a winning mentality for Powell in this roster. But I'm going to keep them down in the bottom tier just for the pre-ranked status, but they could definitely be a surprise team in the Missouri Valley this year.
Yeah, a lot of turnover with Valpo. So I'm probably going to be out on this team, but I'm pulling for Powell. I think he's a good dude. So, let's talk about it. 1-11, 11-1. I got Indiana State at 11.
I got Valpo at 11 that we just talked about.
I got Valpo at 11 as well.
Then I'll take the low-hanging fruit with Indiana State at 10.
Yeah, I went Valpo 10.
Indiana State at 10, so that's pretty funny there.
All right, let's get into the meat of this conference, because I do think that there are 9 good teams here. Indiana State might be good as well, but I just think it's a tough situation.
Yeah. I got UIC at 9.
I agree. I got the Flames there as well. I think they could be really good defensively, but it's a wait and see for me on the offense.
I got the Purple Aces of Evansville, 9th.
I went our aces there with Ragland and company, good defensively at 8. So I had them jumping UIC.
Me too. I've got Evansville there. Last year they had the second best defense, but the league's worst offense. And I think they really supplemented that offense with a good portal class. So I want to be a little bit higher on the Purple Aces this year.
Yeah, we swapped there. 8th for me is UIC, so completely swapped on that 9-8 spot. And
cool. We all agree on the bottom 4. We're going to disagree on this one because I know Bienick already tipped us in. I got Murray at 7. Wild card team. A lot of mouths to feed. I got to see it from Ryan Miller. I'm going with the 6 proven coaches over him. So, yeah, that's my top 6.
Very fair. Very fair. I'm going Southern Illinois. To me, I think Nagy definitely lost a step defensively these last 2 years. His last year at Wright State was terrible. They were Swiss cheese. And yeah, I think the Salukis kind of lost their home court environment. That was such a big advantage as well last year. So he's got to get the fan base back into it.
I got 7th Murray State. I'm with Mac. I'm undecided on this year. And again, 2 or 3 games could decide, from 7th to 3rd in this conference, I feel like.
All right.
All this talent.
The media poll had Murray State 4th, and I have him 1st. So, and you guys have him 7th. So I've got him as my sleeper.
Yep.
The media split the difference.
They did.
At 6, I got Nagy and company, the Salukis. They're going to finish over 500, like I said. But I still think they're not quite there yet of where Nagy wants the program to be.
6, I got Drake. I think Eric Henderson's a really good coach, but there's some youth and inexperience that once again he's got to coach up, and he took a step up in league. And I just don't know if last year didn't win the regular season or the conference tournament title in the Summit with a young team. So I've got him right in the middle of the pack.
I got Southern Illinois 6. I know I said I was super high on them, but that's a step up, and I think that they could be flirting with 20 wins this season, even finishing 6th in the Missouri Valley. That's that good this year.
At 5, I got my guy Eric Henderson and Drake, baby. Like I said, he'll find a way to get in that top 5 with that system he runs.
For me, I got Bradley at 5. Consistently really good defensive program. They lose a couple of program stalwarts and Duke Dean and Zeke Montgomery that they're going to have to replace here. So we'll see what happens for Bradley offensively, and I got him 5th.
5th for me is Bradley as well, Bienick. Couldn't say it better.
4th, I got Ryan Pedon in these Redbirds, cracking into the top 4. Another step on the ladder here with all that returning production, especially offensively.
Yeah, I look at Ryan Pedon's tenure as a head coach, and he's just not really had consistently good defenses, whether it be Illinois State or elsewhere where he was assistant. And I think that's a big question mark when you're competing for a conference title. I got Illinois State 4th. They bring back so much from the league's second best offense, but it was also the league's worst defense last year.
I got Drake 4th. I think Henderson's a proven winner, and they're going to be in that top 5. But I want to cop out a little bit and say they tie with Bradley, but I won't. Drake 4th. So.
There's a good chance there's some ties in this.
There's going to be a tie. In this
it's a power rating preseason.
There's a chance like first place and 6th or 7th place are separated by like 2 games.
2 games, yes.
Yeah. At 3, I'll go Casey Alexander and the Belmont Bruins. They didn't crack. I said they might crack my top 2, but I said top 3 to be safe. Offensively, they'll be solid, and they always win. The 22-23 wins once again for Alexander and Belmont.
For what it's worth, Ken Pom has 2 games separating 1st and 6th place, and 3 games separating 1st and 8th. Just like we talked about, that top 8 teams, I think, are good.
That's where home court matters the most. And
this is a true champion because they play home and home against all 10 other opponents. So this isn't going to be like the Big 12, Big 10, and SEC and ACC where you get completely unbalanced schedules. This is a true champion. You earn it home and away.
3, I got the Belmont Bruins. Just a boatload of shooting. Corey Alexander's always had really good offenses. In 5 of the last 6 years, he's had a top 100 group in that side of the court. So I like the Bruins at 3.
We'll sweep the board there. I'll take Belmont at 3 as well. I like them. They're classic top 3 in the Missouri Valley.
I went with Bradley at 2. I almost picked him to win it the year after the year, but
Really?
I like a better storyline.
I'm gonna call it now. This man's picking him to win the fucking conference tournament.
I don't know if I'm gonna pick him to win it. Like,
the year after the year is always your storyline that you like.
Yeah, well, I mean, they finished second last year, and they're gonna finish second again. They're gonna be just as good as they were last year, even though they lost everybody. Defense wins.
Gotcha. I got Northern Iowa at 2. There's just so much returning production here. Very, very high floor with Ben Jacobson and all that continuity. I'm going to be a sucker for variance, and I'm going to go with the high ceiling.
Number 2 for me is Illinois State. I think they got the Player of the Year candidate in Chase Walker for Missouri Valley, and I think Pedon's going to take even a massive step up. So, second for the Redbirds.
Year 20. Ben Jacobson wins another regular season title. It's going to be a magical year. I feel it. I can feel it in Cedar Falls.
I'm going to go Murray State, and I think that this team's good enough to be fringe at large contender the way that I'm projecting them to be.
Jesus Christ, Noah.
Yeah.
I'm walking through that door.
I'm all bought in on Ryan Miller and the Racers. I think they check a lot of boxes for me. There's so much depth here. So it's a throw the shit at the wall approach, and I'm going to eat all of it. So let's go.
I will not be joining. I got UNI as well. I had them. I've been super high on them all off season, and their returning pieces are going to lead them to prominence in the regular season. And Cedar Falls will matter come March.
This is discussing all your love for Murray State as a former governor. Fuck Murray State.
I told you at the top of the show. I warned you. They have a soft spot in my heart. That athletic program.
Yeah. The stolen valor, though, from Austin Peay pisses me off now, though. The stolen valor at coach. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous.
Get the brooms out. Ben Jacobson is sweeping it. Year 20 is the magical year. The stars are aligned with all that experience.
I got the Racers sweeping, too. Let's go.
I got Illinois State winning the conference tournament, and they beat Northern Iowa, and Northern Iowa falls just short again of the NCAA tournament, unfortunately, like they did Drake last season.
There we go.
What do we got here, Bienick, with the media poll? Sleeper and bust before we go over to CUSA.
Media poll. Illinois State's first with 14 first-place votes. Northern Iowa second with 1. Bradley third with 2. Murray State fourth with 2. Belmont fifth. Drake sixth with a first-place vote. Southern Illinois 7th. UIC 8. Indiana State 9. Valpo 10. And Evansville 11. I talked about it earlier. My sleeper has to be Murray State, I think.
Is my sleeper Evansville? They picked them last?
Yes, they did. They picked them 11.
They don't know about David Ragland. These fucking polls. He's not finishing last, man. Those guys compete in guard. Let's go. Evansville, sleeper. I got him finishing 8th.
Where was Southern Illinois, Bienick? 8th?
7th.
I'm 6th. I don't know if that's who. I feel like I'm pretty media pulled up.
What was Bradley? 4?
3. Bradley was 4.
That's not sleeper.
I guess I'll do Drake. I have Drake finishing 4th. They're pick 6.
That's fair.
I guess. Not too much of a sleep.
Yeah,
a little nap.
My bust/disappointment team, guys. It was the biggest discrepancy in my preseason rankings. Illinois State got 14 first-place votes, and they were the number 1 team. I've got them 4th.
They're good.
I think they're a good team, but I don't know if they're the front runner.
I had Pedon on the show. I love Pedon. I love me some Brian Pedon. I hope he does win the league, but I trust the continuity of these other programs, and I still got him in the top 4, and Huff's got him winning the tourney. But I guess Illinois State will be my bust, finishing 4th.
Yep.
My bust is Murray State. Sorry, Bienick. 7th. So
I guess it's a bust for me.
My hands are up. You know what you're doing. You're taking a big gamble. You guys prefer riding in the back of the roller coaster, and I prefer riding at the front. That's what we talk about.
He ain't coming into the Valley with his first head coaching job and winning this thing. No way.
Dude, it's happened 2 years in a row.
Ben McCollum won 400 games at the Division II level and brought his whole team over. Ryan Miller, this is literally his first head coaching job. That's not the same. Church was a dog at Lincoln Memorial too. Those guys.
I don't know. Third year's the charm. 3 in a row.
He may end up back there like that other assistant coach from that went back to McDermott because he's probably next in line for Creighton or whatever. I'm blanking on his name for some reason. Alan Huss, from High Point.
Yeah, Missouri Valley's a little better than the Big South. So, anyway, that does it. We got another one coming before college football. Go check out the Pump Fake Pod with Huff and Trev and Elliot and much more throughout the season. I know they got Troy on there every now and then too. Go check out Noah B77_. I'm at Moneyline_Mac. 29 down, 2 to go. I can see the finish line. This is the college basketball experience. Slides are done for the next one. See everybody in 5 minutes. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here. Jackasses.
Huff, are you in for the preseason predictions episode tomorrow?
I'm in for whatever.
Bring your Final Four teams as well.
Oh, shit. We're already talking Final Four. All right, yeah. Yes, I'm doing a futures episode tonight on the Pumpkin side.
Yeah, that's the episode tomorrow. Let's go.
Yeah.